Om Ajnana-timirandasya Yanajana-shlakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namah Gurvabhistam Supurkam Gurganara-sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda-nipanam Shri-Rupa-padanugam Govindabhidam Ujjwalam Varatanum Bhaktyam Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Cha Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pradam Devam Divyatanam Suchandabaranam Balarka Shailanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhantanidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shivaram Mareka Sharanam Nyashishwara Sridhanam Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Varatvishe Namaha. Huh?
Would you like me to have a book out as well?
No, it's
I thought I'd just listen. Yeah.
okay. So we're hearing from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We're in the chapter Madhya Lila, chapter 12, the cleansing of the Gundicha temple. This is verse number 136. Nashinga Mandira Bhitara Bahira Shodila Kaneka Vishrama Kori Nritya Arambila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also cleansed the Nisringa temple inside and outside. Finally, he rested a few moments and then began dancing. So, the Nisringa temple is a nice temple just outside the Gundicha temple. In this temple, there is a great festival on the day of Nisringa Chaturdasi. So, after cleansing the Gundicha temple, Mahaprabhu and the devotees cleansed the nearby temple of Lord Nrsingadev. Charidike Bhaktagan Korana Kirtan Madhya Nritya Koran Prabhu Mata Simasam. All around Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees perform Sankirtan. The Lord, just like a maddened lion, danced in the middle. Sweta Kampa, Vaivaran, Yashru, Pulaka Hungar, Nijanga, Duyage, Chaliashudar. As usual, when Mahaprabhu danced, there were perspiration, trembling, fading, tears, jubilation, and roaring. Indeed, the tears from his eyes washed his body and those before him. So while singing and dancing, these are all ecstatic symptoms of Krishna Prem that Mahaprabhu exhibited. Charidike Bhakta Anga Koila Prakalan Shravanera Megajena Kori Varishan. In this way, Mahaprabhu washed the bodies of all the devotees with the tears from his eyes. The tears poured like the rains in the month of Shravan. So that's during the monsoon times. Maha Ucha Sankirtane Akasha Barila Prabhura Udanda Nritye Bhumi Kampa Koila. The sky was filled with the great and loud chanting of Sankirtan, and the earth shook from the jumping and dancing of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swarupera Uchagana Prabhure Sarabai Anande Udanda Nritya Korigorarai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always liked the loud chanting of Swarup Damodar. Therefore, when Swarup Damodar sang, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and jumped high in jubilation. So as we mentioned before, the cleansing of the Gundicha temple occurs a few days before Ratha Yatra because the deities of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra will go from the Jagannath Puri temple to the Gundicha temple. So before they would go there each year, Mahaprabhu would engage all the devotees in the cleansing of the Gundicha temple or the Gundicha Mandir. Emata Katakana Nritya Jay Koriya Vishrama Korila Prabhu Samayai Bhujiya. The Lord thus chanted and danced for some time. Finally, understanding the circumstances, he stopped. Acharya Gosar Putra Sri Gopalanam Nritya Korite Tare Agyadila Goradam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then orders Sri Gopal, the son of Advaita Acharya, to dance. Primaveshe Nritya Kore Hoila Murchite Achaitana Hoyate Ho Parila Bhumite. While dancing in ecstatic love, Sri Gopal fainted and fell to the ground unconscious. Ashte Bhyaste Acharya Tare Koila Kole Shvasa Rohila Deki Acharya Hoila Vikale. When Sri Gopal fainted, Advaita Acharya hastily took him in his arms, seeing that he was not breathing. He became very much agitated. Nashingaram Mantra Parim Marijala Chanti Hunkarera Shabde Brahmanda Jayafali Brahmanda Jayafati. Advaita Acharya and others began to chant the holy name of Lord Nrsinga and sprinkle water. The roaring of the chant was so great that it seemed to shake the entire universe. Aneka Korela Tabu Nahoy Chaitan Acharya Kandana Kande Sab Bhaktagan. When the boy did not regain consciousness, after some time, Advaita Acharya and the other devotees began to cry. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tara Buke Hasta Dila Utaha Gopala Bole Uchaishwara Kohila. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed his hand on the chest of Sri Gopal and said loudly, Gopal, stand up. Shunite Gopalera Hoila Chaitan Hari Bole Nritya Kore Sarva Bhaktagan. As soon as Gopal heard the voice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately came to his senses. All the devotees then began to dance, chanting the holy name of Hari. So apparently, Gopal, the son of Advaita Acharya, when they're dancing, it appeared that he died. And so then Mahaprabhu told him, put his hand on his chest and told him, Gopal, stand up. And then Gopal heard the voice of Mahaprabhu and he stood up. Elila Varni Achen Dasha Vrindavan Ateva Sankepa Kore Korilun Varnan. This incident has been described in detail by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Therefore, I have described it only in brief. This is a matter of etiquette. If a previous acharya has already written about something, there is no need to repeat it for personal sense gratification or to outdo the previous acharya. Unless there is some definite improvement, one should not repeat. Tabe Mahaprabhu Kaneka Vishrama Koriya Snana Koribari Gela Bhaktagana Loya. After taking rest, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees departed to take their baths. So that's what Krishnadas Kaviraj says. Previously, Vrindavan Das Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat, he wrote about all the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, but some he described in detail, and some he didn't describe so much with so much detail. So I'm describing those things that Vrindavan Das Thakur didn't describe so fully. So he says, and here Srila Prabhupada says, that is done out of a feeling of respect, but also to make, Krishna Das Kaviraj says, not to make the Chaitanya Charitamrita so big, not to make it so vast. Tiri uti parena prabhu shuskav vasan Nashringa Devi Namaskori Gela Upavan. After bathing, the Lord stood on the bank of the lake and put on dry garments. After offering obeisances to Lord Nrsingadev, whose temple was nearby, the Lord entered a garden. Ujjani Basila Prabhu Bhaktagana Loya Tabe Vaninatha Aila Mahaprasada Loya. In the garden, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down with the other devotees. Vaninath Roy then came and brought all kinds of Mahaprasadam. Kashi Mishra Tulasi Padicha Duijan Panchashat Lok Jata Koraye Bojan Tata Ana Pita Pana Sabapataila Deke Mahaprabhu Ramani Santosha Hoila. Kashi Mishra and Tulasi, the superintendent of the temple, brought as much prasadam as 500 men could eat. Seeing the large quantity of prasadam, which consisted of rice, let's see, so it consisted of rice, okay, rice, then it says, Tata Ana Pita Pana. Ana is rice and cake. Pita Pana, it says cakes and sweet rice, but actually it's not cakes and sweet rice. It's something that's typical of Orissa. In Orissa, they serve some kind of cake or bread along with a fruit drink like that, Pita Pana. Anyway, 100 minutes. Seeing the large quantity of prasadam, which consisted of rice, cakes, and some drinks, and a variety of vegetables, Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. Puri Gosai Mahaprabhu, Bharati Brahmanda, Advaita Charyara, Prabhu Nityananda. Among the devotees present with Mahaprabhu were Paramananda Puri, Brahmananda, Bharati, Advaita Charya, and Nityananda Prabhu. Acharya Ratna, Acharya Nidhi, Srivas Gadadhar, Shankara Nandana Acharya, Ara Raghava Bhakreshwar, Acharya Ratna, Acharya Nidhi, Srivas Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit, Shankar, Nandana Acharya, Raghava Pandit, and Bhakreshwar were also present. Prabhu Agya Pana Vaishe Apane Sarvabhauma Pindara Upare Prabhu Vaishe Loya Bhaktagan. Receiving the permission of the Lord, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sat down. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his devotees sat on raised wooden seats. Taratale, Taratale, Koryanu Kram, Ujjana, Bari Vaishe, Bhakta Korite Bojan. In this way, all the devotees sat down to take their lunch in consecutive lines, one beside the other. Haridas Bole Prabhu, Dake Ganagan, Dure Rohe Haridas Akore Nivedan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was repeatedly calling Haridas, Haridas, and at that time, Haridas, standing at a distance, spoke as follows. Bhakta Sangye Prabhu, Karuna, Prasada Angikar, E Sangye Basite, Jogya, Nahi Muichar. Haridas Thakur said, let Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take his lunch with the devotees. Since I am abominable, I cannot sit. sit down among you. And Haridas Thakur felt that way. He felt like he was a fallen soul, and he would not eat with the Lord, but actually the Lord honored Haridas, and he gave him his remnants, of his plate, what he had eaten. He gave that Mahaprasadam to Haridas. Pache more prasad Govinda dive bahir dvare mana jane Prabhu puna na bolila tare. Govinda will give me prasad later outside the door. Understanding his mind, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not call him again. Swarup Gosai Jagadananda Damodar Kashishwara Gopinatha Bhaninatha Shankar Pariveshan Kore Tahan E Satajan Madhye Madhye Haridwani Hari Bhaktagan. Swarup Damodar, Jagadananda, Damodar Pandit, Kashishwar, Gopinath, Bhaninath, and Shankar distributed prasadam, and the devotees chanted the holy names at intervals. Pulina Bhojana Krishna, Purve Jaiche Koila, Selila Mahaprabhur, Mane Smriti Hoila. Lord Sri Krishna had previously taken his lunch in the forest, and that very pastime was remembered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just as Krishna would take lunch with the cowherd boys when they taking the cows out to pasture, so Mahaprabhu was remembering how Krishna took lunch in the forest, and when he was sitting with the devotees outside the temple of Gundicha in the garden. Jajapi Premaveshe Prabhu Hoila Astir Samaya Bujiya Prabhu Hoila Kichudira. Just by remembering the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was agitated by ecstatic love. But considering the time and circumstances, he remained somewhat patient. Prabhu Kohe Moredeho Lafrav Yanjane Pitapana Amrita Gutika Deho Bhaktagane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you can give me the ordinary vegetable known as Lafra Vyanjana, and you may deliver to all the devotees better preparations like the cakes and drink and the drinks and everything, like cake, sweet rice, and Amrita Gutika. Amrita Gutika was doesn't give it. Lafra Vyanjana is a combination of several green vegetables all mixed together. It's like boiled vegetables, more or less. That's lafra. It is often mixed with rice and delivered to poor men. Amrita Guticha is a preparation of thick puri mixed with condensed milk. It is also known as Amrita Rasaboli. So that's like a sweet. Sarvagya Prabhu Janena Jari Jai Tare Tare Se Neo Jaya Swarupa Ashray. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is omniscient, he knew what types of preparations each person liked. He therefore at Swarup Damodar delivered these preparations to each devotee to his full satisfaction. So Mahaprabhu knows what are the favorite preparations of the devotees, so he has Swarup Damodar bring those preparations to them. Jagadananda Bedai Pariveshan Korite Prabhur Pate Bolo Jaganananda Bedaya Pariveshana Korite Prabhura Pate Balo Dravya Dena Achambite. Jaganananda went to distribute prasadam, and suddenly he placed all the first-class preparations on the plate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu, normally he just asked for some boiled vegetables or like that. But suddenly Jaganananda put all these nice preparations on his plate. So, Chajapi Dile Prabhu Tare Korana Rosh Bole Chale Tabudena Dile Se Santosh. When such nice prasadam was put on the plate of Mahaprabhu, the Lord was outwardly very angry. Nonetheless, when the preparations were placed on his plate, sometimes by tricks and sometimes by force, the Lord was satisfied. He wants to eat simply, but the devotees won't allow him to just eat simply, so they're by trick putting things on his plate. And then he acts, then Mahaprabhu acts as he's disturbed. But he's actually satisfied by the devotee's affection. Punarupe se dravya kore nirikan tarabaye prabhu kichu korana bakan. When the food was thus delivered, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at it for some time. Being afraid of Jaganananda, he finally ate something. Because Jaganananda has been described as extremely sentimental. He's very sentimental, and like he later describes how he prepared some special sandalwood pulp. He ground it and made sandalwood oil and everything for Mahaprabhu. And he brought a big jug of sandalwood oil for Mahaprabhu. And he described when Mahaprabhu gets a massage, put this on his head. Because normally someone would get a massage with mustard oil on their body. That's pretty common. Bengalis, they take massages with mustard oil. But you can't put mustard oil on your head because it's considered heating. So they put something on their head like some oils that are not so heating. Let me think, what would be? Like sandalwood oil or something. But Mahaprabhu was very renounced, and he told Jaganananda, who worked so hard to make a big jug of sandalwood oil, Mahaprabhu said, if you put that on my head, then people will smell it, and they'll think that I'm also keeping a mistress. So, that's not proper for a sannyasi to have that kind of oil or something. They normally, like Prabhupada, he would have a massage with mustard oil, but on his head they would use coconut oil. So Jaganananda brought this big jug, and then when Mahaprabhu wouldn't accept it, he said, Mahaprabhu told him, but your labor, you work so hard making this oil, so your labor won't go to waste. You can give that oil to the Jagannath temple, and they can burn it in the ghee lamps. And then Jaganananda, who I said is extremely sentimental, he became very furious, and he said, who tells you these lies that I made all this oil? He did make all the oil. Who tells you all these things? And then he took that big jug of oil, and it was in a clay pot, and he smashed it in the courtyard. And then Jaganananda went to his room and locked his room so nobody could get inside. And he stayed in there for 3 days. He wouldn't come out. And then finally, Mahaprabhu didn't know what to do with him. Mahaprabhu told Jagannatha, please come out and take your bath. I want you to cook for me. And then Jagannatha came out, and then he cooked a meal for Mahaprabhu, very nice. And then Mahaprabhu sat down and he forced him to eat. Jagannatha forced him to eat more and more and more. And Mahaprabhu was afraid to tell him, no, stop, because he was afraid if I tell him to stop, then he'll lock himself up in his room again. So like that, Jagannatha is extremely sentimental. That's how he's been described, as being very sentimental. So when the food was delivered by Jagannatha, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at it for some time, but being afraid of Jagannatha, he finally ate something. So Mahaprabhu was just saying, give me some boiled food, and then Jagannatha brings all these nice things and puts them on Mahaprabhu's plate. Mahaprabhu's angry that he did that, but Mahaprabhu just looks at everything, and then he's afraid to say anything because he knows Jagannatha will react very strongly. So Mahaprabhu keeps quiet and just eats it. Nakaile Jagannatha koribe upavas tar age kachukana mani aitras. Mani aitras. The Lord knew that if he did not eat the food offered by Jagannatha, Jagannatha would certainly fast. Being afraid of this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate some of the prasadam he offered. Mahaprabhu didn't want to deal with Jagannatha's anger, so he just kept quiet and ate. Swarup Gosai Balo Mishta Prasada Loya Prabhuke Nivedana Kore Age Dandaya. Swarup Damodar then brought some excellent sweetmeats, and standing before the Lord offered them to him. So that's what they call sweets in India. That's the English, they would say sandesh or the name, but they'll call them sweetmeats. Ema prasada alpakoraha ashwadan deka jagannatha kaiche karyachena bojan. Swarup Damodar then said, just take a little of this Mahaprasadam and see how it is that Lord Jagannath has accepted it. Eta bole age kichu kori samarpan tarasnehe Prabhu kichu korana bojan. Upon saying this, Swarup Damodar placed some food before the Lord, and the Lord out of affection ate it. Emata duijan kori bar bar vichitre dui maktera sneho vyabahar. Swarup Damodar and Jagannatha again and again offered the Lord some food. Thus they behaved affectionately with the Lord. This was very, very uncommon. It was very uncommon because Mahaprabhu would not normally eat in this way. He just take very simply. Sarvabhauma Prabhu Vasayachan Bama Pashe Dui Bhaktara Sneho Deki Sarvabhauma Hashe. The Lord made Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sit on his left side, and when Sarvabhauma saw the behavior of Swarup Damodar and Jagannatha, he smiled. That we heard about that with Srila Sridhar Maharaj. First of all, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, when he was older, he was over 90, he didn't have any teeth. So everything had to be, he didn't have any teeth to chew, so they would give him some puffed rice, but they would grind the puffed rice. They would make it like powder and then mix it with some liquid, and he would eat that. But one time, one lady who was a disciple of Jayatirtha, she made something to offer to Guru Maharaj, and so Govinda Maharaj said, she's cooked something for you and she wants you to eat it. And Guru Maharaj said, well, you know I have my own food. Then he wasn't, so Govinda Maharaj said, you just put your finger into it, the preparation, and just taste it from your finger and like that, and then she'll be happy. So then they brought it. Guru Maharaj said, okay, and what they brought was pizza. She had made pizza. So then Guru Maharaj put his finger in the pizza and tasted it, and then she was very happy, the lady who made that. So I like that. Then this says here, this was uncommon for the Lord. The Lord made Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sit on his left side. And when Sarvabhauma saw the behavior of Swarup Damodar and Jagadananda, he smiled. How they were making Mahaprabhu eat so many different things. Sarvabhauma Dhyana Prabhu Prashara Uttama Sneho Kore Bar Bar Korana Bojan. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also wanted to offer Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya first-class food. Therefore, out of affection, he had the servers put first-class food on his plate again and again. So it's like this is like a feast day. Sometimes, when there's a feast, you eat more than normally you would eat, and sometimes very rich food, right? Gopinathacharya Uttama Mahaprashadani Sarvabhauma Diya Kohe Sumadurabani. Gopinathacharya also brought first-class food and offered it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya while speaking sweet words. So when I went to visit Brazil, and at that time it was Govinda Mohini. She was married to Bhuvan Mohan. And she before was like the leader in Brazil of the macrobiotics. So I don't know exactly what macrobiotic diet is, but it was pretty, strict macrobiotic. But Bhuvan Mohan was not like that at all. He later opened one restaurant in Sao Paulo, and that restaurant was called Rasa. And when I visited him, he would order like these big, I don't know how many kilos, they were big wheels of cheese, like this big around and thick. And so this was done in the house of somebody before who was the leader of the macrobiotics in Brazil. But Bhuvan Mohan was called Mr. Queijo, which means Mr. Cheese. And when I was there, he had Govinda Mohini. She made this preparation, which was not at all macrobiotic. It was a preparation made in a deep pie plate, and it was burfi on the bottom, and on top was all these round pieces of pineapple, and they would serve squares of burfi, maybe this thick, with pineapple on top of it. It really seemed odd. I mean, it tasted very good, but it definitely was not macrobiotic. So he converted her. Gopinathacharya Uttama Mahaprashadani Sarvabhauma Diya Kohe Sumadurabani. Gopinathacharya also brought first-class food and offered it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya while speaking sweet words. Kahan Bhattacharya Purva Jada Vyavahar, Kahan E Paramananda Koraha Bichar. After serving the Bhattacharya with first-class prasadam, Gopinathacharya said, just consider what the Bhattacharya's previous mundane behavior was. Just consider how at present he is enjoying transcendental bliss. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was previously a smarta Brahman, that is, one who strictly follows the Vedic principles on the mundane platform. On the mundane platform, one cannot believe that prasadam is transcendental, that Govinda is the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or that a Vaishnava is a liberated person. These transcendental considerations are out of the ordinary Vedic scholars' jurisdiction. Most Vedic scholars are called Vedantists. These so-called followers of Vedanta philosophy consider the absolute truth to be impersonal. They also believe that a person born in a particular caste cannot change his caste until he dies and takes rebirth. The smarta Brahmins also reject the fact that Mahaprasadam, food offered to the deity, is transcendental and materially uncontaminated. Originally, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was subjected to all the rules and regulations of the Vedic principles on the mundane platform. Now Gopinathacharya pointed out how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had been converted by the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being converted, Sarvabhauma partook of prasadam with the Vaishnavas. Indeed, he sat by the side of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So everything had changed once he met Mahaprabhu. You can also see in pictures out there, but before I was very skinny, like Sulalita. Sarvabhauma Koheyami Tarkika Kubudi Tomara Prasade Mora E Sampat Siddhi. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied to Gopinathacharya, I was simply a less intelligent logician, but by your grace I have received this opulence of perfection. So everything has changed, he said. Then he says, Mahaprabhu Bina Keho Nahidoya Moy Kakare Garuda Kore Aiche Kon Hoy. But for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, who is so merciful? He has converted a crow into a Garuda. Who could be so merciful? Tarkika Srigala Sange Byo Kori Se Muke Ebe Sara Kohe Krishna Hari. In the association, he says, he has converted a crow into a Garuda. In the association of the jackals known as logicians, I simply continue to bark a resounding byo, byo. Now from the same mouth, I am chanting the holy names, Krishna and Hari. He said, before I was like a jackal. In the association of the jackals of logic, which is what he was studying and saying, and I simply continued to bark a resounding byo, byo, like a jackal. But now from the same mouth I am chanting the holy names, Krishna and Hari. Kahan Bahirmukha Tarkika Sishyagana Sange Kahane Sangha Shuddha Samudra Tarange. Whereas I was once associated with the disciples of logic, all non-devotees, I am now merged in the waves of the nectarian ocean of the association of devotees. Prabhu Kohe Purve Siddha Krishna Tomar Priti Tomasange Amasabar Hoila Krishna Mati. Mahaprabhu said to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, from your previous birth you have been in Krishna consciousness. Thus you love Krishna so much that simply by your association we are all developing Krishna consciousness. Bhakta Mahima Badaite Bhakte Shukadite Mahaprabhu Bina Anya Nahe Tri Jagate. Thus Thus there is no one within these three worlds, save for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is always so willing to increase the glories of the devotees and give them satisfaction. Tabi Mahaprabhu pratyeke sabhabhaktir namaloya pitapana deo jaila prashada korya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then took all the remnants of food offered at Jagannath, such as cakes and sweet rice, and distributed them to all the other devotees, calling them individually. Advaita Nityananda Basi Jachan Ektai Duijane Krita Kolaha Lagila Tatai. Sri Advaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu sat side by side, and when prasadam was being distributed, they engaged in a type of mock fighting. So Advaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu are always arguing. They're always arguing, and they always seemingly insult each other. But actually they're glorifying each other, but you have to know what they're saying in order to be able to understand it, because on the surface it looks like they're saying insults, but actually all their words have double meanings. So they engaged in a type of mock fighting or arguing. Advaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu. Advaita kohe abaduter sangi ek pankti bhojana kori luna jani habe kon gati. First Advaitacharya said, I am sitting in line with an unknown mendicant, and because I am eating with him, I do not know what kind of destination is awaiting me. Oh, we don't know who Nityananda Prabhu is, and if I'm just eating, he can eat or say anything, and I live a more strict life, and if I'm sitting with him, I will develop, I don't know what will happen to me. I will be influenced by him. Now then, I do not know what kind of destination is awaiting me. Prabhuta sannyasi uhara nahi apachai anandoshe sannyasira dosha nahi hoy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. Consequently, he does not recognize discrepancies. As a matter of fact, the sannyasi is not affected by eating food from anywhere and everywhere. Nanadoshan maskari a shastra praman amita hastra brahman amara doshastan. According to the Shastras, there is no discrepancy in the sannyasi's eating at another's house. But for a householder Brahmin, this kind of eating is faulty. He's saying Nityananda Prabhu can eat anything or anywhere, it doesn't matter. But I am a Brahmin, Grihastha, married Brahmin, and I have to follow a more strict life, so I don't know what will happen to me by associating with somebody like this Nityananda. Janmakula Shila Chara Najani Jahar Tarasangi Ek Punkti Bor Anachar. It is not proper for householders to dine with those whose previous birth, family, character, and behavior are unknown. Nityananda Kohe Tumi Advaita Charya Advaita Siddhante Bade Shuddha Bhakti Karya. Nityananda Prabhu immediately refuted Srila Advaitacharya, saying, you are a teacher, because his name is Advaita, you are a teacher of impersonal monism, and the monistic conclusion is a great hindrance to progressive pure devotional service. So first Advaitacharya criticized Nityananda. You're a sannyasi, you can eat anything and everywhere, and it doesn't affect you. But I have to live a more strict life. And then Nityananda Prabhu says, well, you're a Mayavadi, you're like an impersonalist. And that is a great hindrance to devotional service. Tomara Siddhanta Sangha Kore Jane Ek Bastu Bina Se Dutiya Nahimani. One who participates in your impersonal monistic philosophy does not accept anything but the one Brahman. So, actually, they have great affection for each other, but they're always joking with each other. Hene tomar sange mora ekatre bojan najane tomar sange kaiche hoima. Nityananda Prabhu continued, "You are a monist, and now I am eating beside you. I do not know how my mind will be affected in this way. You have to be careful with who you eat, and you're like an impersonalist, and I don't know if by eating by eating beside you that I may also become affected by your philosophy." Because his name's Advaitacharya. Advaita means non-dual, so it's like Advaitavad. It's like normally you would think impersonal. E mata duijane kore bola boli vyaja stuti kore duhe jina gala gali. Thus they both went on talking and praising one another, although their praise appeared negative, for it appeared as if they were exchanged ill names. Tabe Prabhu Sarva Vaishnavera Namaloya Mahaprasada Dena Maha Amritara Sinchiya. Thereafter, calling all the Vaishnavas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed Mahaprasadam as if sprinkling nectar. At that time, the mock fight between Advaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu became more and more delicious. Like when Haridas Thakur and then Nityananda Prabhu, they converted Jagai and Madai. Jagai and Madai were drunks. They were drunkards. So then Advaitacharya said about Nityananda Prabhu, he says, these two persons, Jagai and Madai, they're drunkards, and Nityananda won't be happy until he brings them in here with us and we're all dancing together. He says that's the kind of person that Nityananda Prabhu is. He won't be happy until these drunkards are here dancing with us. Bhojana kori ute sabe haridwani kori haridwani utila sab swarga martya bari. After taking their lunch, all the Vaishnavas stood up and chanted the holy name of Hari, and the resounding noise filled all the upper and lower planetary systems. Tabe Mahaprabhu sab nija bhakta gane sabakare shrihaste dila malya chandane. After this, Mahaprabhu offered flower garlands and sandalwood pulp to all his devoted personal associates. And Govinda Maharaj, he would always do that. When we're going on Navadip Dham Parikrama and going on Sankirtan, he would always be at the temple with many flower garlands and sandalwood pulp, and he would use a flower to put sandalwood pulp on everyone's head and put a garland on them before they left for the parikrama. Tabe pariveshaka swarupari shatajan grihera bitare koila prashara bojan. The seven persons headed by Swarup Damodar were engaged in distributing prasadam to others, then took their meals within the room. Prabhura Ava, those were the servers. Avashesha Avas, Prabhura Avasesha Govinda, Rakila Doriya, Se Ana Harida, Se Kichu Dila Loya. Govinda saved some remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and kept them carefully. Later, one portion of these remnants was delivered to Haridas Thakur. Bhaktagana Govinda Pash Kichu Magil Nila Se Prasadana Govinda Apani Paila. The remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were later distributed among devotees who begged for them, and finally Govinda personally took the last remnants. Govinda's Mahaprabhu's personal servant. Swatantra Ishwara Prabhu Korinana Kela Doya Pakala Nama Koila E Lila. The independent Supreme Personality of Godhead performs various types of pastimes. The pastimes of washing and cleansing. And washing and cleansing, the Gundeja temple is but one of them. Aradine Jagannathara Netrosavanam Mahotsava Hoila Bhakter Pranasaman. The next day marked the performance of the festival of Netrotsava. The great festival, this great festival was the life and soul of the devotees. So after the bathing of Lord Jagannath, Lord Jagannath is bathed outside the temple, normally on the roof, and from across the street you can see that. But he's bathed, and then after the bathing, this is called Snan Yatra, and after the bathing they say, now Jagannath caught a cold, and he's being kept in a room and given medicines and everything. But actually what's happening is, after the Snan Yatra, Jagannath put in a room and is given what Govinda Maharaj called nourishment. That means he's being painted and made. The nourishment means he's being painted and prepared for the Rath Yatra. And for maybe about 2 weeks, Jagannath not visible, and then Mahaprabhu would feel very much separation. And then they have this festival called Netrotsava. Let's see what the translation. After the bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath, during the fortnight before the Rath Yatra ceremony, the body of Lord Jagannath, having been washed, needs repainting. This is known as Angarag. The Netrotsava festival, performed gorgeously in the early morning of the Navayovana day, constitutes the life and soul of the devotee. So after 2 weeks, now they're able to have darshan of Jagannath. And I think this is one day before Rath Yatra. So they all go, and they're very happy because they haven't seen Jagannath for a couple of weeks, maybe. And then they have this program called Netrotsava, when they're going to have darshan, and then the next day, Lord Jagannath will be taken on Rath Yatra. Pakadina Duki Loka Prabhura Adarshane Darshana Koriya Lok Sukha Pailamane. Everyone was unhappy for a fortnight because they could not see the deity of Lord Jagannath. Upon seeing the Lord at the festival, the devotees were very happy. Mahaprabhu Sukhe Loya Sab Bhaktagan Jagannath Darshane Korila Gaman. On this occasion, greatly happy, Mahaprabhu took all the devotees with him and visited the Lord in the temple. Age Kashishwara Jai Loka Nivariya Pache Govinda Jai Jala Karangal Loya. When Mahaprabhu went to visit the temple, Kashishwar walked in front, checking the crowds of people, and Govinda walked in the rear, bringing the sannyasi pitcher filled with water. So Kashishwar is big, and he keeps people from crowding too close to Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, everyone will try and touch his feet and crowd close to him. But Kashishwar is strong, so he keeps the people at bay. Prabhur Age Puri Bharati Duhar Gaman Swarup Advaita Duher Parshre Dui Jant. He's big. Kashishwar is like, I don't know, Bimal Krishna. Do you know Bimal Krishna? He's big also. He can be like that. He keep people away. Prabhu Rage Puri Bharati Duhara Gaman Swarup Advaita Duher Parshe Duijan. When Mahaprabhu went toward the temple, Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati walked in front of him, and at his two sides walked Swarup Damodar and Advaitacharya. Pache Pache Chale Jai Arabhaktagan Utkante Gela Sab Jagannatha Bhavan. With great eagerness, all the devotees followed them into the temple of Lord Jagannath. Darshana Lobete Kori Marjara Lagnane Bogamandape Jana Kore Sri Mukha Darshane Darshana Lobete Kore Marjara Langan Bogamandape Jana Kore Sri Mukha Darshan. Out of great eagerness to see the Lord, they all neglected the regulative principles, and just to see the Lord's face went to the place where the food was offered. So they're just trying to get close to Lord Jagannath to see him. Trisharta Prabhuranetra Brahmara Juga Gara Trishnaya Piye Krishnara Bharana Kamal. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very thirsty to see the Lord, and his eyes became like two bumblebees drinking the honey from the lotus-like eyes of Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna himself. Prafula Kamala Jini Nayana Jugal Nilamani Darpana Kante Ganda Jalamal. The eyes of Lord Jagannath conquered the beauty of blossoming lotus flowers, and his neck was as lustrous as a mirror made of sapphires. Nilamani. Mandulera Fula Jini Adara Suranga Ishadha Shita Kanti Amrita Taranga. The chin of the Lord, tinged with buff color, conquered the beauty of the banduli flower. This increased the beauty of his mild smiling, which was like lustrous waves of nectar. Sri Mukha Sundara Kanti Bore Kane Kane Koti Bhakta Netra Bringa Kore Madhupani. The luster of his beautiful face increased at every moment, and the eyes of hundreds and thousands of devotees drank in the honey like bumblebees. Like there's so many persons who come for the festival of Jagannath Puri. So during this Netrotsana, there are hundreds of thousands of devotees there. One would imagine, because millions of people come to Jagannath Puri for the festival. Jata piye tota trishna bhare nirantar mukambuja charinetra najai antar. As their eyes began to drink the nectarian honey of his lotus face, their thirst increased. Thus their eyes did not leave him, did not leave Lord Jagannath. Emata Mahaprabhu loya bhaktagan madhyana parjanta koila Sri Mukha darshan. Thus Mahaprabhu and his devotees enjoyed transcendental bliss upon seeing the face of Jagannath. This continued to midday. Sweda Kampa Ashrujala Bahe Sarvakan Darshanera Love Prabhu Kore Samvaran. As usual, there were transcendental blissful symptoms in Mahaprabhu's body. He perspired and trembled, and a constant flow of tears fell from his eyes. But the Lord checked these tears so they would not disturb his seeing the face of the Lord. Madhye Madhye Boga Lage Madhye Darashan Bogera Samaye Prabhu Korana Kirtan. Their looking at the face of Lord Jagannath was interrupted only when he was offered food. Afterwards, they would again look upon his face. When the food was thus offered to the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his kirtan. Darshana Nande Prabhu Sab Pasharila Bhaktagana Madhyana Horite Prabhure Loya Gela. Feeling such great pleasure upon seeing the face of Lord Jagannath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgot everything. The devotees, however, took him to his lunch at noontime. Pratakale Rata Jatra Habeka Janiya Sevaka Langaya Boga Twiguna Korea. Knowing that the Ratha Yatra festival would take place in the morning, all the servants of Lord Jagannath were doubling their offerings of food. Gundicha Marjana Leela Sankepi Kohila Jeho Deki Shuni Papir Krishna Bhakti Hoila. I have briefly described the pastimes of the Lord in washing and cleansing the Gundicha temple. By seeing or hearing his pastimes, even sinful men can awaken their Krishna consciousness. Shri Rupa Raghunath Parijara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishnadas. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, falling in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Chapter 12, describing the washing and cleansing of the Gundicha temple. So, and tomorrow, well, I know tomorrow's Saturday, we have that, what is it, the Zoom meeting in Spanish. Zoom. It sounds so strange to me, Zoom meeting, you know. When I was a little kid, there was somebody on television called Captain Zoom. And he'd always go like this, Zoom. So now I hear Zoom meetings. I have many of those Zoom meetings every week. Saturday and Sunday and Wednesday with England. I used to have a Zoom meeting with Salt Lake City on Friday, but then they told me, I was told that the only time I could have a Zoom meeting with some of our devotees in China was at the same time on Friday. So then they said to Sri Lanka, can't do the Zoom meeting on Friday. And she said, oh, there's no other day. But now we're not doing the Zoom meeting on Friday anymore.
I think I remember when you were doing Zoom meetings on Fridays.
Yeah, at Salt Lake City. Yeah. Anyway, a class takes like a little less than an hour, but a Zoom meeting goes on forever.
Yeah.
They're very dangerous, those Zoom meetings. So now we'll sing Hari Haraya. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Shri Chaitanya Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghuna Sai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghuna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Rasa Raghuna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Rasa Raghuna H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaite Vignana Shabishta Puran Jaite Vignana Shabishta Puran H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Karadas H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Karadas Sasavar Padarenu Mora Banchagras Sasavar Padarenu Mora Banchagras Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanidans Adir Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanidans Janame Janame More Ambilans Janame Janame More Ambilans H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas Hari Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narathamudas Hari Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narathamudas Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Tilak Nehriya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunathi Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Prem Sri Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Vishwavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Kushamashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Kalavi Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Sokel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.